Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for game number 3 of this Play All 5 series between minimoult and Tabben. This is the Esoc Premier League week number 1 between the Hudson Bay Bigs and the Crassier Management Company. Score is 1 apiece after 2 games. We're in the 3rd game of the Play All 5 series, and the map for this is going to be Manchuria. Tabben is spawning to the northeast map in the colour red, playing as the Chinese. Opponent is minimoult. He's playing as the Haud, spawning to the southwest map in the colour blue. Both these civs have options to make good use of the livestock on the map. Do note there's yaks around. The yaks are the Asian equivalent of the llama, so it's rather interesting that these animals fatten at different rates, whether they're on livestock buildings like the livestock pen, the village, or whether they're not on any pens at different rates depending on whether they're in the sheep class, the llama class, or the cow class. It's a little bit different. Essentially, these yaks, if you're interested in the actual numbers, they fatten the fastest when not on a pen, and they fatten the slowest when they are on a pen, I believe, in the sense of they don't get too much benefit, but it's always nice to have a livestock pen when you have enough yaks. Forward village here from Tabben is brave. I really don't like that position of the village. I would like it to see behind the gold mine. Going for card 1. T export. This is interesting to see because minimoult has been kind of like dubbed the godfather of Chinese at the moment on the ladder. He's been playing so much China, and he's actually developed his own meta revolving around the French consulate, the Temple of Heaven age up, which a lot of top players are looking at. They think it's pretty good, has potential, starting to adopt. Kaiser Klein doesn't quite fully buy it at the moment. Maybe he'll convert. But then again, when Tea Leaves card was introduced, Kaiser was never a fan of Tea Leaves, even though we were all telling him, Kaiser, you've got to send Tea Leaves, this card's amazing. He's like, yeah, I'm going to go 2 villagers, 3 villager card first, and play from there. And Tabben here, early consulate, card 1. Going French consulate, looking to adopt the minimoult build here. The thing is with China is that essentially the idea here is going to be a fast fortress, but there's many ways to fast fortress, and there's no set path of which card order, which consulate, and which age up wonder you pick. They kind of all part of the same strategy. It doesn't really matter. We are splitting hairs. It is having the healing wonder is really nice. It is good. I think it is too good, and we might expect to see the Temple of Heaven to the next stage, aging up straight away. That Temple of Heaven, getting the wonder down at 3 minutes, nice fast time. But notice how he hasn't managed to gather. The food being shipped wasn't critical to getting the age up in. Other options you could do would be, well, pretty much this actually. French consulate into Temple of Heaven. You could just go Russian consulate into the Temple of Heaven. Russian consulate there, getting you your blockhouse, which acts as a barracks, shipment point, garrison points, population space, training, and means you don't really have to ever send in 700 wood, where kind of the thing with this build here, which on China was a bit weak, is that you are forced to send into 700 wood. You have no production, you have no extra housing, you've got to get wood in at some point so that you can build. Yes, you can wait until you gather the export for the 500 wood crates here from the consulate. But if you send that then, well, okay, it's a delayed wood. It might be quite useful to kind of get that synergy with the French consulate going down, but then you have no export to change consulate. You have no export to train any units from it. It's a really risky strategy, and there'll be a moment in time where you're waiting for that wood and you still don't have a barracks, a village, and you're just playing on shipments, micro, and all the other stuff. So it is tough. You'd have to consider it. Pros and cons with all these things. Temple of Heaven's been built. I do see the Shaolin Temple has been secured, but not been built just yet. Moving in, sending in 700 gold. Card number 1. Fast Fortress looks to be the play of choice here from Tabben. Skipping the villager card in H1, which from his base would only be 2 villagers from the town centre. So 1 for the village, 1 for the town centre. We do see a dock here from our Haud player. Probably built with the H1 Travois, 4 fishing boats. There's a trading post on the train line already deployed there from minimoult. I'm expecting minimoult to kind of say, okay, you're going to FF. I will also FF as well. Ages about 5 minutes, which is quite late. Does age up with the chief. That's the 2 villager, 1 healer. The thing is, you do need to build a marketplace, a community plaza for the healer to actually get working. He's currently just chilling out, relaxing. So that'll come down at some point, but that's 0.6 XP per second if on the XP dance, which is pretty decent. You can always change it to war dance in terms of combat, which I think players need to do more often. Functionally, big button. Can your horsemen coming out? The thing is, the fishing income here with all these fishing boats on food should help the military production, and there may be a potential here that Haud is actually looking Sage 2 and just going pure aggression. Tomahawk's coming out, sieging the trading post, looks like the direction where they're heading. Canyons are going to be annoying and raiding. The wonder down here from Tabben already, that is... Yeah, so you have to admit, that's a very quick wonder. He's only aging up with 4 villagers on it. He's now sent in 700 wood. He's only just now got another shipment. There's canyons on the map. Oh, he does actually have enough resources for Minimen, so he's going to bait the cav in, and it doesn't get a good pop. Minimoult's going to try and drag them all out, but you need to group them individually. And yeah, manages to get, well, one gets sniped. I was expecting the one he left behind to sack off would also get killed by the pikeman, and he does. Well, the town centre will finish the job off, but essentially, that was risky play there. Village being built right next to the gold mine. If Minimoult sees this, he'll just naturally move on from that train post onto the village. Because if he wants to age up, he's got to make some more progress. I'm expecting the shotgun ability on these macaques. I mean, I would just be like triple kill, quad kill straight away. But with the outpost nearby, it's fine. Just taking it this way as well. I don't know where these fishing boats going. Looking for a whale to gather. There's some whales being mined here as well. I think Minimoult's just looking for the to maximise his gold income, and then go for the ore crates resources. So this is like a semi-FF play that Minimoult's gone for, and he's got a bit of eco, he's got a bit of resources, he's got a bit of pressure, but has he achieved much? I'm struggling to justify if he's achieved what he wants to achieve in the second age. Our Chinese player is into the Fortress Age and is going to soon start unleashing absolute hell. First card is going to be the 5 mutual hammers, actually deleting the walls in front of his base because he wants to be able to get some good movement. There's still a lot of hunting base. That gold mine will never run out. His porcelain tower is on woods. That's an 8 villager wonder on wood there. That's really, really strong. Six fishing boats on berries, on fishing, which essentially is like, well, a villager on the fish is 1 vill on berries, but a villager on the whale, well, yeah, it's even less than 1 vill on a mine. So it's like 6 fishing boats is like 5 villagers. So China economy is still looking really, really good. And Minimoult's aging fast. He's aging up with the messenger, it looks like, to the next stage. So he's going to catch up to the technology, but you know, he's got a yak he might want to eat. Essentially, what he needs to do is throw down the stable straight away from his age up travel. Maybe get that travel being built in base. He might actually have to think about going for a second war hut here to try and defend his location, because Tabben here is looking to push out quite fast. He's taking no prisoners. And Minimoult will need to get some musket riders out on the field to kill the cavalry, and some forest prowlers out here to kill the Changdao and the skirmishers, and will require some good micro. The only thing is, remember, Tabben, he's got Transcendence. He could heal up his entire forces if he needs to a click, and yeah, he let 1 meter hammer go down, but the main fight hasn't started, and quite often you're baiting the attack on Wang Lang, the explorer. Tomahawk's going into melee. We're in the next stage. The crowd's being built. Struggling to see the reinforcements. Okay, there's the redcoats. Transcendence has been called. So that's a really awkward time in Transcendence, because you're always going to win. You're going to win the fight anyway. And I don't think the explorer took too much damage there, but it's not a lot of units there. And the thing is, Minimoult is happy trading off his age 2 Tomahawks because he's sending in forest prowlers. He's now training musket riders. Look at the resources that Minimoult has got, and that Transcendence is not ready. Okay, the forest prowlers have gone down. Another war hut's being built behind, but musket riders will come out. It's not the end of the world. And with the train post income and a lot of villagers out in natural resources, the fishing starting to take off a little bit more as well. I would love to see gill nets here instead of another fishing boat at some point. I'm not feeling too bad here for Minimoult's position. A lot of work still needs to be done, and getting caught by the meteor hammers is not what you want, but that's a good engagement there, picking off the 2 cav. The infantry charge in, but we do have some forest prowlers out here to try and be annoying as well. Notice the reinforcing cavalry. The thing is with China is if he sees this skirmisher mass, he does with the disciple, he can basically charge this down. There's nothing stopping him, and the musket riders on the wrong sides. They're on the wrong sides. The explorer has got on this. The disciple is class as shock infantry, so they're basically cavalry. Where the musket riders going? They need to get home. They're in such an awkward place, and I am so surprised that Tabben has not punished this move here by sending the cavalry on top of these forest prizes. There's just begging to get killed, and the thing is, how are we killing the explorer if your skirmishers are snared? You just need to back off and run. We need to send in our cannons. Oh my god! Oh no! Oh no, the muskets got into melee versus the elite musket riders. Like, how is that possible? How are musketeers catch up to cavalry? It just shouldn't happen. And I did say I'm not feeling too bad here for Minimoult's position. And I did caveat it would require some good micro to make good use of the early units here. And we're at a stage here where we're struggling. Our yaks are starting to fasten up nicely, but we're not eating them. We're not using the resources to invest in our position. We've just sent in Kanya horsemen. They're not upgraded to disciplines yet. Okay, he's moving the things around. He's not really trained Vils. He's got way too much food income at the moment. I know all his fishing is on the whales, but he kind of needs to move some of this stuff around. It is not looking great start. He needs more gold. He really needs more of these forest prowlers. I think he's cut back a bit of musket riders to get that out. He might try and get another musket rider. One will do. Doesn't quite happen. Might have to re-queue. Might go for the elite Canyas now and send in more Canya horsemen. I think that's going to be the play. He needs to do something. Could also research elite tomahawks, send tomahawks, and go tomahawk big button here from the town centre. That requires gold. And all the things I thought about, that's not actually too bad of an idea, really. But he does need to think of a plan quickly and act on it, because that stable's going down, and he cannot afford another military building going down. Forest Prowlers for the time being happy taking trades, but in come the Kanya horsemen. They're only age 2, and the age 3 heavy cavalry starting to engage. The Changdao's chasing. A couple Changdao's on villagers. That's going to be quite annoying. The explorer's just gone down, so all the units are now getting weaker behind this. And I think the Kanya horsemen are essentially now lost. And we need to protect our skirmisher with some dragoon micro here. But all this heavy cavalry is relatively unchallenged. And the thing is, there's only 3-4 musket riders, and game's called. Minimoult resigns. It just lost that position in the third age, and Tabben, with the really fast Chinese age up, with the porcelain tower, the shipments, the yaks, the in-base gold mine, was able just to keep pushing forwards. And it was that unrelenting pressure that Tabben puts in once he started that kind of push, which made all the difference. Notice how that middle war hut went down. Minimoult was waiting for more skirmishers to be trained from this war hut. He only had 8 from the shipment. Couldn't train anymore. Floating a lot of early resources. There wasn't time for him to find time to research elite axe riders or elite Kanya horsemen. So that kind of pushed him from ever sending 5. I think he had a shipment at the end. So the potential to research vet tomahawks, send in 9 tomahawks, and research tomahawk big button from the town centre. And tomahawks in this fight would be great. There's not too many skirmishers, and they're very good in melee versus the Changdao, the Iron Flails. It will probably get picked off by the Redcoats, but at least that gives you some sort of extra body to your army. So that your elite forest prowlers are not getting snared by the cavalry. You're not having musket riders having to be attacked in melee to kind of block his skirmishers. That probably gives them substance, but it's always a game of fine details when you play at this level of Age of Empires. Just that little timing of extra 15-20 seconds of not making units as a result of losing a building is just something which just scales up over time. And we can see that after that first fight where Transcendence was called to heal the army and pick off the remaining H2 units. Not too much done. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I think Tabben's Transcendence probably had recharged by the time that final fight happened. I think he just had it in his back pocket, ready to go. But it's just, I think at this moment when the musket riders got picked off and the forest Prowlers were getting attacked by the Explorer or the Monk and the Disciples and a couple of Arquebusiers. It felt like there was potential, and we started to slip that away, and the recovery wasn't quite on. It's always annoying when you, after a game like this, you look in base and you still see all these yaks, all that hard work gathering up in the first age. About 2,000 food worth of fast income there. Ready to be called at a moment's notice, but just couldn't quite work it out. Would love to see gill nets on these fishing boats. That might have provided an extra bit of gold income, and was always needing a little bit more production. But look at the remaining resources. I think minimoult was essentially throwing in the mental towel about, just before he actually called the physical GG. I think he realised that it's just not going to work. I need to get stable up somewhere. By that time, I've lost my main force. It's just really awkward, and I think just Tabben there, just playing a good build, playing it nice and standard, making good choices, and zoning off the musket riders away from his skirmishers, I think was a very good play there from Tabben's point of view. And we'll move on into the next game. Make sure, if you're new around here, like and subscribe. I'm casting the rest of the series. This is a Play All 5 series in the EPL 4. So game number 4 is coming up right away. Big boy Tabben, of course, getting the point there. And we'll give him the 2 next to his name. 2-1 to Tabben and the CMCs. See you in game 4.